All right, you might not know this, kids, but West Virginia looks like it's a place that's got plenty of rare earth minerals, which are very, very important, as we've learned throughout the discussion today. And earlier, joining us now, we welcome West Virginia Governor Mr. Patrick Morrisey. Governor, thank you for this. It's just an interesting story. It may not be number one, but a headline, how abandoned coal mines in Appalachia are joining the global race for rare earth metals. West Virginia University's fine school, researchers have found that some of the residue from the old coal mines, some of the water coming through there, extracting from mine drainage, found that there's a lot of rare earth minerals, a lot, and could be mined in a major way, maybe get some help. Interior Secretary Burgum is hot on the trail. China is trying to shake us down, as you know.
Absolutely.
Front page story today in the Wall Street Journal. Automobile makers are having trouble because they can't get the rare earths, the magnets that are so important, whether you're gas-powered or electric-powered. So I'd love to see West Virginia as a center for rare earths.
Well, look, West Virginia is going to be the center for a lot into the future,
Yes, sir.
and certainly rare earths can be part of that. One of the interesting things I always found is when we were having that big chip debate and back and forth in Congress a number of years ago, I've always believed that with West Virginia's rich mineral resources, that we could really be an epicenter nationally for fueling the chip demand that's out there. And that just needed a little bit of mapping and a little bit of work. You're starting to see that begin to happen now, because rather than just ship a lot of the resources across the globe, maybe we should take a closer look at what's happening and keep more of those rare earth minerals here at home. I think West Virginia's really beginning to look at that a lot more closely, which is going to open up a lot of doors. You look at that in tandem with what we're trying to do to really drive up the ability to fulfill data center needs. That's going to position West Virginia in the global battle against China, where right now the rash of coal-fired power plants and energy resources China's put in place has to be countered. West Virginia is going to be in a position to step up and do its part.
Yeah, I mean, semiconductors is another big user of these rare earths, particularly the advanced chips. West Virginia was really important, too. West Virginia versus the EPA,
Absolutely.
which was a massive... Now, you were the Attorney General at the time
I was.
First brought, and good on you. And I've interviewed the senator who was the governor at the time. But the point is, I don't even think people understand the importance of that. Regulators, these unelected bureaucrats, this is a favorite theme of Trump's, favorite theme of mine. These unelected bureaucrats cannot run the place unless there's clear congressional law mandates.
That's right.
And they've been trying to run the place for the past 30 or 40 years. And that decision, launched in West Virginia versus the EPA, was a crucible. I mean, it was incredibly important.
It's probably one of the single biggest legal decisions over the last 50 years to bring more accountability to the bureaucratic state. And when you watch what happened over a prolonged period of time, these bureaucracies could act with impunity, and their efforts were destroying American innovation. They were harming the states. So we set up, literally over a 9-year period, we started to fight back. And not only do we want to make sure we protected our state's energy resources and our jobs, but we wanted to make sure that anytime there was a major question of the day, economic or political significance, that it was clear Congress had to do the work. That's our representative system of government. We never elected the bureaucrats, and I'm so glad that we were able to win that case. And then also, we were the lead state weighing in on that case to help get rid of Chevron deference.
Yes.
So we had a lot of fun in the Attorney General's office.
Overturning the unelected bureaucracy.
It matters so much, and that's what we're trying to do in West Virginia now. We're trying to create the most fertile, deregulated, red tape-free zone in America. You do that, that's a lot better for driving economic growth than you see with all these guys taking the federal money, throwing it at the wall, hoping it's going to stick. We have a chance in West Virginia leveraging our energy resources to be the nation's best location for data centers. We passed a first-of-its-kind law just a couple months ago. So West Virginia is going to be in a position to have faster speed to build on data centers and a superior regulatory environment than any other state in the nation. And of course, we're deeply rich in our natural gas and our coal resources. So West Virginia's coming. We're beginning our comeback.
How's the natural gas, absolutely. How's the clean coal campaign coming? It's
You know,
always
look,
been
West
tough.
Virginia has the cleanest coal in the country, and as many people watching know, America has the cleanest coal in the globe. When I watch what's happening as China is building one coal-fired power plant after another, and a lot of these folks tried to stop the use of coal or limit it, and that was a big mistake. But I think you're beginning to see the markets and others open up, knowing there's still a role for coal and also a big opportunity for gas. That's what West Virginia has, and that's why I think we're getting on everyone's radar screen in terms of these data centers.
Well, there may be even bigger role for those old coal mines that don't work
Absolutely.
anymore. That's what's so interesting about this rare earth story. Anyway, we'll see how it plays out. It's a pleasure to see you, sir. Thanks for
It's good to be with you. Thank you.
West Virginia Governor, Mr. Patrick Morrisey.